Hey, welcome or welcome back. Ever wonder what happened when the Doom engine had a cooler, more versatile cousin that let you blow up stuff? That was the build engine. Today we're diving deep into 90s nostalgia to rank all 10 official build engine shooters. From the absolute junkiest messes to the undisputed genre-defining masterpieces, let's go! Kicking off our list, at the absolute bottom of the barrel is the World War II GI. Released in 1999, this was the very last commercial official build engine game. One would think that the last would be the best, but boy oh boy, would one be wrong. The plot is, well, you're a GI in World War II, fighting through D-Day landings and assaults on depots. And that's pretty much it. What made World War II GI special, you may wonder? Honestly, not much. It was developed by TNT team, the very same that made the next game on our list, like it had been dug out of a time capsule marked past and shipped straight to the discount section of your local game shop. Now, was there anything good about it? Well, it technically runs. I guess the voxel-based vehicles were a neat trick for the engine too, even if nothing special in 1999. The bad? Well, pretty much everything else. The weapons feel like pea shooters, the AI is brain-dead, and the levels are a monotonous slog through grey and brown corridors. It felt dated even when it came out. This is build engine bargain bin at its finest and a game you should avoid at all cost. Well, unless you really want to sample all the titles released on the engine. Taking one small step up from the bottom is Nam, which, surprise surprise, was also developed by TNT team. It's a spiritual predecessor to World War II GI, but set in Vietnam War. It even came out a year before it, so this was their first attempt at quote-unquote realistic military shooter on the engine. The plot puts you in boots of US Marine in Vietnam. What's interesting is that the developers consulted with an actual US Marine Sergeant Dan Snyder to try to make it authentic. A noble goal, but sadly it did not translate into a good game. It was a glorious mess though, so there's at least that grand word that can be used to describe it. The good and the bad are pretty much the same as with World War II GI. It's slow, boring and brutally difficult in a way that just isn't fun. It feels less like a game and more like a junky early proof of concept. Like a game that was intentionally made to be demanding so that you would never pass that first stage, as if you did, you would notice that there isn't much more after. It's a hard pass. Oh, Witchhaven. A series with such a cool idea and equally fumbled execution. Witchhaven 2 Blood Vengeance is a prime example of a rushed sequel. While the first game was rather decent and a fun RPG FPS hybrid, this one seems like it was released to cash in on that success, and because of that, it failed miserably. The story picks up where the first one left off. You, the Knight Grondoval, have to rescue the princess from an evil witch, so you're like Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins, just in 3D. It's a pretty standard fantasy stuff really, nothing too creative about it. Witchhaven 2 doubled down on the first game's melee combat, giving you swords, axes and maces to swing around in first person. The problem with Witchhaven 2 though, is that it stripped out the light RPG mechanics that made the first game unique to the absolute basic, and the level design felt way more generic. It was just a straightforward clunky hack and slash that got old really fast. It wasn't terrible, mind you, despite its location on this list, nothing like the two first mistakes in video game design we've just spoke about, but it was a massive step down and a huge missed opportunity. Get ready for peak 90s cheese. A bit stinky, but also so tasty. And cheesy, let's not forget about cheesy. So yeah, we're out of the bad games part of this video and it's the first one that's genuinely decent. William Shatner's Tech War is a game based on the series of books written by, well, James Tiberius Kirk. I mean William Shatner himself. The plot is a cyberpunk story where you're a former cop fighting the distribution of an addictive neurochemical drug called tech. What made TechWar stand out was its sheer ambition. It wasn't just a straight-up corridor shooter. You had a hub area where you could get mission briefings from fully digitized William Shatner himself, then choose which level to tackle next. For 1995, having live-action video cutscenes guiding your missions was pretty wild, and it gave the game a weirdly charming sci-fi TV show vibe. It wasn't a fully open world or anything fancy like modern games, but it felt special and honestly, a little bit like stepping into a campy, neon-lit episode of your favorite cyberpunk series. Well then, so what was good about it? The ambition, the sheer campiness and cringe of it all. And yeah, I loved it. The bad, the execution was a complete mess. The AI was famously broken, with enemies just running into walls, and the levels were really confusing. It's a buggy, bizarre, but unforgettable piece of build engine history that I just can't not secretly love. Yeah, double negative, I know, I'm crazy. Okay, this one's a bit of a cheat. It's a console port, but it's also an official build engine game and it's truly fascinating. Duke Nukem 64 is the Nintendo 64 version of an all-time classic, and given the system's limited hardware capabilities as compared to PCs of the time, I have to say that it's pretty darn impressive. The plot is the same as in PC original, so aliens are stealing our babes. Bastards! And Duke's not gonna let it slide. Well, at least not without leaving a trail of alien bodies behind. The plot is a plot, but the game itself is heavily modified. To comply with Nintendo's family-friendly policies mumbo-jumbo, all the strippers were removed. Many levels were redesigned or merged to fit on the cartridge, and some weapons were modified or swapped out. For instance, the freezer was replaced with a plasma cannon. The good news is that it had a fantastic 4-player split-screen mode, which I've heard was awesome. I haven't had a chance to sample it myself, but 4-player split-screen mode sounds like a hoot. The bad news? It's a censored and compromised version of a masterpiece. It's an incredible technical achievement for the N64, but it just can't hold a candle to the PC original. Well, hardly anything other than Quake could at the time. And now we're talking. The original Witch Haven was a genuinely good game. It was a dark fantasy title where you, again as the Knight Grondoval, venture into Witch Haven, a fortress of an evil witch Ilwyrin, dealing with her numerous minions and eventually putting her down to prevent her from casting the spell that would destroy the world. Witch Haven was genuinely innovative for its time. In 1995, a first-person game focused on melee combat rather than a series of bigger and powerful guns was rare enough, but Witch Haven also had RPG elements. You could level up, improve your stats and find new armor and weapons. It had an inventory system and everything you'd hope to find in an action RPG. Now, let's be clear here, Witch Haven wasn't perfect. The melee combat was a bit clunky and the ouch animation when you get hit is seriously disorienting. But for its time this was super creative and atmospheric use of the build engine that deserves a ton of respect for what it tried to do. Successfully, no less. Here it is, the cult classic. The hidden gem of the build engine that hardly anyone knows or remembers. Depending on where you lived, you could have stumbled upon it under either Power Slave or exhumed names. The plot of Power Slave is pretty wild. A mysterious force has taken over the ancient Egyptian city of Karnak, and you play a soldier sent in to investigate and stop the threat. So you could think of yourself as a metaphysical/paranormal special forces tough guy. Along the way, you face ancient traps, supernatural enemies, and Pharaoh Ramses himself. What makes Power Slave brilliant is its structure and Metroidvania-style progression system. So you'd get permanent upgrades like higher jumps or ability to breathe underwater, which would let you go back to old levels and access new areas. For a 90s FPS game, this was truly mind-blowing. The Egyptian atmosphere is fantastic, the weapons are cool, and the level design is just top-notch. It's an absolute must-play. And we've reached the top 3, the Undisputed Kings. The games that made the build engine legendary. You could honestly rank these in any order, and I wouldn't argue with you. But if I had to choose... Coming in at number 3 is the fastest, silliest and most stylish of the bunch, Shadow Warrior. You play as Low Wang, a distant cousin of High Wang and a brother to Mid Wang. Don't quote me on that though. And you're a modern-day ninja fighting demons after his Zilla Corporation boss goes too far. Shadow Warrior took everything Duke Nukem 3D did and cranked it up to 11. The speed is blistering, the weapons variety is insane, from a simple katana and shurikens to dual-wield Uzis, a railgun and the legendary sticky bombs. It was also the first build engine game to feature drivable vehicles, and on DOS, which was not nothing. What Shadow Warrior was best known for, other than the blistering fast action, was its humor, which, truth be told, was very much a product of its time and might not land for everyone today. But the sheer joy of movement and combat is undeniable and makes it a memorable game. Zipping around the level, sticking a bomb to a demon and detonating it while doing a 360-degree jump is a feeling that never gets old. It's probably also a reason why we still keep getting Shadow Warrior games to this day. At number 2, we have the darkest, goriest and most atmospheric build game engine ever made, Blood. You play as Caleb, an undead gunslinger from the Old West, on a mission to get revenge against the dark god Chernobog, which makes it instantly special as there's not that many games where you get to go against a literal god. Where Blood shines is its gothic horror atmosphere. It is genuinely creepy. But the star of the show, as in most good build engine games, is the weaponry. Every single weapon, from a simple flare gun to a voodoo doll, has a devastating alternate fire mode, and using them all is pure pleasure. The level design is intricate and, dare I say it, brilliant, and the enemy AI, especially the cultists, is borderline legendary. Blood is a horror masterpiece disguised as a 90s shooter. It's also brutally, punishingly difficult, way more for me to ever complete it, but I suppose that's a part of its charm. It's a game that was made for a very special kind of a player. It doesn't hold your hand, it sets you on fire and kicks you into a pit of zombies to deal with, or die, and it's amazing. And here he is, the king. So hail to the king, baby! The game that put the build engine on the map. And the number 1 couldn't have been anything else. The undisputed king of its own engine is naturally Duke Nukem 3D. The plot is simple. Aliens are invading Earth and stealing our babes, and Duke can't let it slide. And while we've established that with Nintendo 64's port already, the Duke is ready to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And he's all out of gum. What made Duke 3D a revolution was its interactivity and that it felt like a genuinely complete package and a step up from Doom. You could shoot a fire hydrant and water would spray out. You could use a toilet and you could comment on it. Heck, you could even play a game of pool. The levels felt like real tangible places and were overflowing with detail. Also enemies, they were overflowing with those too, but since you were playing as Duke, lifespan of these alien bodies was cut rather short. Combine Duke's atmosphere with a perfectly balanced arsenal of weapons, some of the most iconic level design in FPS history, and a hero spouting endlessly quotable one-liners that were as cool as they were cringe. And you have an absolute masterpiece. It was a technical marvel that pushed the engine to its limits with slope surfaces and clever tricks, creating a world that felt years ahead of its time. It's not just the best built engine game, it's one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made. From the absolute slog of World War II GI to the genre-defying royalty of Duke Nukem 3D. The build engine gave us some real stinkers, but it also gave us some of the most creative and beloved shooters of all time. What do you think though? Is Blood better than Duke? Is Power Slave the true hidden gem? Let me know your ranking in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this trip back to the glorious pixelated 90s, do me a favor and like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next upload. Thanks a lot for watching, take care of yourself, and hail to the king, baby!